The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to the 15-Point Plan podcast. Chad Himes here, joined by the effervescent Jillene Snell. Jillene, how are you today?
I'm loving that word. I'm good. How are you?
I know you are, and we joked about the word before the episode even began. You went and quickly had to look up what it truly meant, and you came back with the definition that it's vivacious and enthusiastic. You thought it was perfect. Of course, I reminded you that the other definition is giving off bubbles, being fizzy.
Yes.
So you decide what it meant when I called you effervescent today.
You can call me bubbly as well. We can do bubbly.
Okay, there you go. The bubbly Jillene Snell. Jillene, we are finishing up the journaling section of Going Deeper here on the 15-Point Plan. And there's nobody I'd rather have the conversation with than you when it comes to journaling. There are a lot of people out there who claim they're journal experts or claim this or claim that. Jillene, you are a certain age. We won't mention it.
Oh, gosh.
You are a certain age, and you've been journaling for a long time.
Yeah.
How long do you think you've really been journaling? There have been some breaks in there, but overall over your life.
Since I was about 9 years old.
Okay, so many years we won't say because then they'll do the math and figure out how old you are.
There's other episodes that tell my age.
Of course. Okay, so you have been doing this for a long time. I mean, you were doing this as a kid. You have developed a system over years and years and years of journaling to make it easier for yourself, yes?
I have, yeah. And
Okay.
that system actually came from me, well, first, being a 9-year-old and not knowing how to write, but just writing from my heart, which is, I think, just as impactful.
Sure.
And over time, figuring out what the best way to do it was, that was also maybe somewhat productive for my mind and for my health.
So when do you think this system, because as you said, I was going to say, you didn't know this as a 5-year-old. This is something that you're as a 9-year-old. You've developed this as you've journaled. At the beginning, your journals were Dear Diary type journal entries,
They
correct?
were. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I literally started it with Dear Diary.
Okay, and nothing wrong with that. Get it out, get the emotions out, get the thoughts out. That's the purpose of journaling. That's what we're there for. It lets our brain process. We've talked about some of these benefits that come from it. When do you think you started kind of noticing maybe a pattern or noticing a system being created or said, I'm done with this Dear Diary, I need something to follow? How did this develop?
So I would share a lot of feelings and thoughts and sort of recount the day in my journaling over the years, especially as a child and a teenager. And when I became an adult, I would continue a lot of that. And I think it is a really healthy form of therapy, and therapists recommend it. And yet I wouldn't always feel like it was the most productive way to write maybe just the negative things, like have that outlet for negative things.
Sure.
And I said, hey, I want to practice some other like positive journaling techniques. And so it wasn't actually until in the last few years, maybe a little bit longer, where I started buying guided journals and just trying them. So yeah, I would start them and often never finish these guided journals.
Okay.
But then I'd buy another one and I'd try that and I'd buy another one. I probably have gone through maybe 30 guided journals.
And is that just because the guide didn't take you down the path you wanted to go down?
I felt like it wasn't all-encompassing for what I truly felt like could be a great package of a release of thoughts and also productive for maybe the day and for our minds and our health.
Okay, which is why it's behind the scenes, folks. We're hoping to bring it to you. We're working on it. It's not top priority yet. It's something we're working on for you. That's why you've been working on the portion, Jillene, of our 15-Point Plan tracker journal, where you were responsible really for the journaling portion of that to make sure that people were having a guided journal that works.
Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Okay, so let's get into the system. We talked about it before, and we're going to go deeper on it today. We're going to take a few minutes on each one of these things and how to do this to make sure we're moving in the right direction. You call the system the 5G's of journaling.
5G's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. 5G's of journaling. I love it.
I could have come up with maybe a better title, and over time, who knows what that will translate
Look,
into. But it's so simple.
Jillene, you were calling it the
effective.
5G's before, Sprint and Verizon and AT&T. They're just jumping on your bandwagon. So
I wish I had 5G service.
yeah, there you go.
Speaking of.
That too. All right. So it's simple. It's easy. That's what we like. That's what makes this something that even I would do when it comes to journaling. Jillene, give us the 5G's, and then we'll go deeper into it. Lay them out for everybody.
All right, here we go. Hold on. The 5G's, each G stands for something. It's gratitude, goal, give, get, and grow. So we'll dive into gratitude first. So gratitude is where we're laying the foundation for the day. And if you journal at night, that's okay. You're laying the foundation for your mental state and your well-being, and you'll wake up positive. So you can't go wrong doing it in the morning or at night or any time of day. So what we want to start with is gratitude. I truly feel like it's underrated because it costs nothing. It costs nothing to feel it, to think it, to give it. Yet regular gratitude journaling, according to studies, have shown that there is a 5 to 15% increase in optimism, Chad.
Sure.
And 25% increased sleep quality.
Awesome.
Which I thought was interesting.
Okay. Now, Jillene, let's go back before we get into gratitude. Is this a start the day with journaling? So what am I grateful for from yesterday? Is this what am I grateful for that I see coming ahead of me today? Or is this an end of the day journaling where it's here's what I'm grateful for from today or what I'm grateful for that I see coming tomorrow?
It can be exactly what you want it to be. That's where you get to bring in your creative ideas.
Okay.
For me, I sit in that moment, and often it's like very early morning. I've just had my first sip of coffee, and I allow myself to be in a state of mindfulness. So it's sort of a meditative state.
Sure.
And think about, what do I feel in this moment that makes me joyful, that makes me happy, that makes me grateful? And it's never the same every single day when I allow myself to feel in that moment.
That's something I was just about to ask you. So you're not necessarily writing the same thing again and again and again, because so many people would just say, well, my partner or my kids or, oh, look, my dog. You're finding that even though you're not purposeful about, oh, I can't say this because I said it yesterday, because if that's what you're grateful for, that's what you're grateful for. Yet you find that if you were to go back and flip through pages, there's probably not a repeat over the last however long.
Yeah, so different.
Okay.
And it's not, what's also interesting is I don't find my gratitude tracking back to a lot of maybe materialistic things or massive, milestones, or say like my trip to Africa. Of course, I'm grateful for that trip. That was amazing. It's usually the small things or like a human to human contact and connection that I'm grateful for. And so it's those small things that you can then be aware have an actual, a very big impact on your psyche.
Sure. Okay.
So you can write a list.
Yep.
Or you could just write one thing. The 5G's is meant to be very simple. So I say write one thing, just one thing.
Okay.
But if you decide the one thing becomes 10, then go for it.
All right. So Jillene, one of the things that people always tell me about the podcast is I ask great questions when I get the opportunity. So I'm going to put you on the spot with one right now. Help us all out. What were you grateful for this morning as you sat down and did it? What ended up on the page? Share with the audience.
Well, it's funny because I usually take a picture of my journaling page and then I take it with me for the day so I can refer back to it. So now that you put me on the spot, I'm grateful for finding a new gym that's 2 minutes from my house where I can perfect my routines and be more consistent than ever before.
Okay.
And I'm excited about that.
That's great.
So come with me, by the way. Come work out with me.
No. Yet I can tell you, Jillene, and I know you said not material things usually. I'm really grateful this morning for the heated steering wheel in my car.
Oh, jealous.
Really cold. That's something to be to for. I never thought I needed it. Now I don't know if I could ever live without it.
That's a nice feature.
Okay, so we're starting our journaling with gratitude. So whether again we're finishing the day or we're starting the day as we write these things, it's writing down something you're grateful for. That's the first G. All right. G2.
Is that what we're calling it? G2. Here we go.
G2 is
goal or goals.
Okay.
Goal could be singular, meaning just write one.
Okay.
And yet, here's what I would recommend is that we write one goal in our business life or our career and one in our personal life.
Okay.
And here's what I would also recommend is look at your goal for the year, like your annual goal, or maybe the goal for the month, and then write one action step behind it right below that primary goal.
Okay.
So it could just be one thing. That's fine.
But we're not
As
just
long
writing
as you
the
write one.
goal. I'm hearing you say here we write the goal and then an action step that we know we should go
Exactly.
take to move us in the right direction.
Something we're committed to taking action on today
Mm.
that gets us behind that big goal.
Okay.
And I think that's because we often treat our goals as less significant than the typical duties of daily life.
Okay.
And if that were easy, I mean, if achieving your goals were easy, I think there'd be more people driving Porsches or sipping cappuccinos on a veranda in Paris, or, reaching all of their financial goals. I mean, that would be easy. And I think yet people often miss the progress, the rate of progress towards their goals simply because they're not writing it down. And of course, there's lots of studies behind that.
Yep.
But this is truly the simplest way I've found to get there. Primary goal for the year and one action item for today that gets behind that primary goal.
Okay. Professional tip. Folks, if you're on the 15-point plan and you're sitting here saying, how do I get all 15 points? There's so many. If you're doing the 5G method, you've already done journaling then. You've already covered your goals, and you've got something that you're grateful for.
And gratitude, and also mindfulness.
Right. Right. I said gratitude, goals, journaling right there. And as Jillene said, she even gets into a zone of mindfulness. So she's getting 4 points just by sitting down and doing her journal. All right, Jillene, G3
is about giving.
Oh.
And I love this one. This is so good. The question that I would ask myself is, what value will I provide others today? And another question would be, what can I contribute to society and my community around me? I know I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the societal contribution that people around me make and what we're capable of and how we get so busy in our lives that sometimes we really miss the opportunity to have that contribution. And yet it doesn't have to be volunteering, 20 hours a week at the local shelter or whatever it might be. That's incredibly time consuming or expensive. It can be a very, very small gesture. So I'll go through a few of what those options could be. I think the number one act of service or a way of giving that we can give others is to ask powerful questions and allow them to respond and listen to them and be an active listener and really empathize with them, be a good listener, ask deeper questions, because I guarantee you that person that you ran into in the elevator or wherever it might be, they may not have had anyone ask about them and truly care for that day, for that week, for that month. And you're giving them something very special. Notice that word give. You're giving them something very special. It could be a smile, something as simple as a smile. But by the way, there's this book that a lot of people in our organization have been reading. It's called Simply Said.
Okay.
So if you want to be able to practice those listening skills and know what questions to ask that build this high-level rapport with people, that book is incredible. So pick it up if you can.
Okay.
Pick up the hard copy, by the way, because you get to highlight in it. It's one of those paperback necessary kind of reads.
Okay.
So asking powerful questions is really like the top thing for giving. That is not just your time or money in volunteering.
And it sounds to me like we just checked off another thing on our 15-point plan, because now we can be serving somebody else. As we're journaling about it, might not actually truly be the act. It's at least, though, bringing us the consciousness to go perform that act through the day today, and it's leading us towards earning another check mark right there.
Absolutely. And it's planning that and integrating it within the day. Another thing you can do is to promote another business or showcase a friend on your social media. I mean, social media showcasing and highlighting other people around you is really valuable. They feel special. It's an easy thing that we can do to recognize others.
All right. So here we go. We're on to G4.
All right, let's get it.
G4 is what?
Get.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is an interesting word because if I were to ask you, Chad, what are you going to get today? How does it make you feel off the bat?
Challenged.
Okay. Makes you feel challenged.
Yeah.
Any other words
No, that's
or
probably
thoughts?
what comes to mind off the bat for me. Someone says to
Okay.
me, "What are you going to get today?" I know we're going into a coaching moment here. Right. So what am I going to get? So I'm going to go get after this. I'm going to go get that done. I'm going to go,
Okay.
right. That's where my brain is going when someone's talking to me about get.
I see. Like accomplish?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And here's how it's geared is it's geared to be inward facing.
Okay.
What am I going to get and provide myself that brings me joy and a spark? This is like fanning the flame of our lives.
Okay.
Like, what can I bring to myself today that is going to bring me joy?
Okay.
It's incredibly simple. I think some people look at this as maybe a selfish act, and that's probably why we put self-care and doing things for ourselves as the last priority oftentimes.
Yes.
But this is really making sure that when you're journaling in the morning, you're scheduling that into the day. So for me, when I think about writing down what I might get,
Yeah. I'm going to ask you, what'd you write over the last few days? Give us something you can share as you were working through your journal as you're going to get something.
so I have a sort of a guilty habit of shopping
Okay.
online. I love
Okay.
shopping online because the world is endless right there.
Sure.
And I am shopping for decor and furniture for my office because I'm redecorating my office.
Okay.
So my plan today was to get some time where I could go shopping for office decor. And in that moment, I'm excited. I love it. I love the planning piece of it. I love the visionary piece of it and mapping it out. And it might be like a 5-minute period of time or maybe 15 minutes, but that's all I need to kind of give me a little spark. It's something to be excited about.
Okay.
What would that be for you?
I have no idea. I never really thought about it like that. To me, depending when I would write this, I was going to go get my workout, right?
Yeah.
Because that's going to give me that spark. That's going to give me that energy for the day. I'm going to go get some time with Nita because I've just been out of town and on the road and missed some of that time that I would normally spend with her because I took our weekend away. So I'm going to go get some time with
Yeah.
my wife and stuff, and that's going to recharge me. So what we're looking at here is you're giving us this get is that thing that's going to get us, that we're going to go get for ourselves, that's going to bring us some happiness and some joy into our lives. Whether it's a quick 5-minute thing, I'm going to get this, or whether it's I'm going to get this project finished today, something massive that could be external, but it's going to bring me ultimate satisfaction.
Exactly. And what I do with a lot of my coaching clients is I ask them to send me a list of the things that they could do every day,
Yep.
not just occasionally like a vacation, but every single day that bring them joy. It could be listening to music or spending time alone reading. There's so many different options there, but it needs to be about you and feeding your own, your own soul
Okay.
and igniting that spark.
Okay. Give me the last G. We're 4 of the
All right.
5 in. What's the 5th G?
Grow. So the question is, what am I going to feed my brain today? And we want to pick something because I don't know about you, you could be reading 5 or 10 books at any given time, right? And because you have so many projects going on or so many podcasts that you're listening to, you might feel overwhelmed by the different options. It's like that decision fatigued. So
Okay.
in the morning in this journaling process under Grow, just pick one of them. It doesn't have to be the top one necessarily, but just pick a book like Achieve Your Apex.
Sure, I'll take
right,
that.
Chad?
Sure, I'll take
And just
it.
write down, say, hey, Achieve Your Apex chapters 1 to 2, or just chapter 1 or half of chapter 1, and make that, write down the specific goal for that day.
Okay.
Or write that specific podcast down, like the 15-point plan, of course.
Yes.
And the Win, Make, Give podcast and others. Just say, hey, this is the episode that I want to listen to today.
Okay.
So I would just challenge the audience, whatever you're investing every single day in your growth right now for feeding your brain, can you increase that by 20 or 50% this year? And what would happen if you did? And would you try it for maybe even 30 days to see what your chain reaction might be in your own life? Because it's pretty staggering. And that could be watching a productive documentary or something that, again, is informational. There's all different ways to feed your brain, or attending a conference.
So can I claim The Walking Dead is educational in case the zombie apocalypse happens?
I'm looking at our producer, Dave, and he's shaking his head no.
Ben might disagree. We know it's coming. He's prepared. All right, so we've got the 5G's: gratitude, goal, give, get, grow. There are probably other G words we could have thrown in there. These are the ones that Jillene has found over the years to pull together to bring the most positive results and success from taking the time to journal. And folks, she's been doing it a long time. She has gone through many of those guided journals. She's gone through many a blank book. She has gone through many a time where she didn't want to journal. She's gone through all of it. Trust the lady when she's put together this system and learn the 5G's. Jillene, I want to give you, before I close it, the last word on journaling. What do you want to leave everybody with as a thought?
A blank piece of paper can be quite magical. It's where you get to bring out your own thoughts, and it's all so personal and exciting to you. And what I think the 5G technique does is it just makes that blank piece of paper come to life. So do it with me, or do it with us. Chad, you're going to start tomorrow, right?
Sure. I'm all over it.
And I'd love to hear how that translates into your life. Please come to the Facebook group. What's it called, Chad?
It's facebook.com/winmakegive, groups/winmakegive, or you can also go to the 15-point plan for life group if you want to jump into where accountability is held each and every day on achieving the 15 points.
Yeah, please share your stories with us. I'd love to hear.
All right, we hope this episode ups your energy and takes you to the next level.